Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. After the last series related to the data analytic group, Global Fabric Data Days, I'm getting a lot of requests related to the Microsoft Fabric to go on a deep dive manner. So I get started with a new series name called Microsoft Fabric Roadmap. So here I'm going to give the sessions on the phases wise. So let's try to understand the foundation first about what is a Microsoft Fabric, and before jumping onto the Microsoft Fabric, why we need Microsoft Fabric, I'm going to cover those scenarios too. And if you want to get started with Microsoft Fabric, what are the prerequisite, right? And whoever planning to expand your knowledge on Microsoft Fabric, I feel that this is the right stage to get it understand the Microsoft Fabric. Suppose if you already have an awareness on Power BI, you almost 15% through on it. So it is very helpful to get it move on to the Microsoft Fabric, how the activities or workloads that are available. So this is for you. So I'm going to get start a new series of sessions related to the Microsoft Fabric. So here I have been segregated with 30 minutes theoretical part, 30 minutes technical discussion. So which will be very helpful to you as a hands-on activities or exercises too. So let's get to understand what we are going to cover for the today's theory. So this is what we are going to cover: the problem before Microsoft Fabric. What is a Microsoft Fabric? Let's try to understand SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, infrastructure as a services, platform as a services, software as a services. The 7+ Fabric workloads, we are going to get it understand. Capacities, if you want to make use of Microsoft Fabric, it's getting started with a trial to the F2048. Licensing options and workspace, and where Fabric is going to get it fit. So this part is going to cover up with an theory. And technically, we have to get it as a hands-on, right? Let's try to understand Fabric trial related, how we have to get it signed up with the Microsoft Fabric, and I will explain the complete canvas web user interface wise, the activities that we are important key areas, and we are going to create the first workspace and switch experience between Power BI plus Microsoft Fabric, capacities assignment, and explore different workspaces roles and so on, so that you'll get a full clarity about that is what my main motto here on 60 minutes of duration, so which we are going to cover up theory plus hands-on activity, so that you'll be more comfortable to get to know about Microsoft Fabric. This is going to be a first foundational session on Microsoft Fabric. So let's try to understand the problem first, okay, before moving on to the further slides and so on. This is anyway the problem before Microsoft Fabric, why Microsoft has been built this particular unified platform in the first place, how the earlier positions, how the earlier tools are being available. Let's try to understand the problem before Microsoft Fabric. I'm going to come up with two different parts items or two different scenarios, so that it is easy for you to get it understand. So as most of us are coming from a data background, we know there is a lot of drills, right? One tool we are going to use it earlier, one tool we are going to use it for the pipelines that to extract the data. Another tool or else a product, we are going to use it to capture the historical or current data that is going to be the product from my data warehouse related, right? Maybe Azure Synapse Analytics, we are going to use it. And another is for the reporting part. So if you're observing, these three different tools which are separate. It's not linked with each other, one to another, right? None of them has been talked to each other properly. Today, we are going to get start this particular series, Microsoft Fabric series, to fix the gap which has been evolved from the Microsoft, right? By the end of the session, you will have a one particular Fabric workspace which is going to be up and running. Let's get start with the further activities to get it understand where the data will be get it stored. The data will be get it stored in the OneLake. We will get start with the lakehouse creation and so on, right? Let's try to understand one more very much interesting analysis. As I said, right, the world Word. Maybe I will also open one of the Word documents to get it understand more about the realistic scenarios. Let's try to understand the realistic activities like a business analyst who is going to build the reports. We are aware of it via Power BI, or maybe if they are using some another reporting tools, they will prepare or else build the reports via some visualization tools. The data behind that reports, which we are going to extract it from Azure Synapse, which is going to be another product items, and the pipelines, maybe they can use different ways of approaches like ADFs, they can use it to extract, to move the data, right, from one tool to the another tool. So if the team want to get start or run the jobs, Spark jobs, they can also make use of Azure Data Factories and so on, right? Notice here, I had just mentioned four different tools, right? Four different Microsoft products, four different items, workloads. You can also call it as a workloads, simple terms, right? It's important. Four different copies, four different tools, four different use cases of the same data, which is going to sit under different places, four different places altogether. What we will do in the sense, let me explain another interesting scenario, right? One more. The problem before Microsoft Fabric, like a Power BI Synapse, before it comes into the area, we will discuss about. There is a lot of data duplications. Duplicated data will be there. If you want to same customer table, example customer table or sales table, that might be copied from the warehouses, lake houses, or even from the Power BI data sets. Three different copies, three chances to get the data get it stilled. And coming to the security, like the governance related activities, sensitivity labels addition. So most of the copies which will be get it happen on the next level of downstream analytics, downstream wise. One more example, slowing down the projects. If you are working on earlier before this Microsoft Fabric, slow down the projects. How? Every hands off between each and one tool to the another tool, between one to another, the team changes. So maybe if there is any new person has to comes up, they have to learn four different products. We have to track it, four separate tools, right? One more glimpses I just want to share it with you. What is a problem before Microsoft Fabric? Imagine if every app on your mobile or phone stored your photo into a different disconnect places, disconnected photo. Nowadays we have a libraries to disconnected photo library. That's what the data teams will do. That's what the data teams has to deal with years. Microsoft is going to get it answer one shared library for every app that we are going to read it out. One more very interesting scenario I'm going to showcase to you, right? I mean, before moving on to the where the data will be get it reside in Microsoft Fabric, that is OneLake, which we are going to cover it on the second session. But one more line I'm going to add it here, line of definition here. What is the problem? Maybe this product, as I said, right? On 2023, Microsoft rebuilt their entire product or ecosystem, analytic tech stack, into one single idea. What is that? What if every one of these tools just share with the same data? That product is called it as an Microsoft Fabric. This is what it is. This is what we are going to discuss. So, so in 2023, the year, Microsoft rebuilt the complete entire analytic tech stack from a grounded up another around one single idea. What if every one of these different tools which we discussed share the same data? The product we will call it as an Microsoft Fabric. Let's define it properly. So maybe still if there is any confusions on Microsoft Fabric, let's define in another way what Microsoft has been defined. Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end analytics software as a solution platform that brings every data tool which we discussed, right? pipelines, data warehouse, reporting part, we are going to use a Power BI, right? Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end software as a services analytics platform that brings every data tool, like example pipeline, data warehouse, engineering activities, science, data science, real-time intelligence, and business intelligence into one single product built on one copy of the data in an one lake concept. As I said, we will discuss in the further session, next session. But please keep in mind, earlier this is how the tools has been scattered. These are all the things Microsoft has been sit, and in 2020 they have been launched a project at the end, right? They have launched a project, Microsoft Fabric. This is how it looks like. One more way, one drive for your one data. Sometimes we will call it as a one drive for your one data. Simple example, think about how our OneDrive works. In a OneDrive, you can see a Word, Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and different apps also get it visible to you. But they are all read and write at the same file on the same places. Same place, not going to move anywhere. You don't need to export your Excel data into a separate copy or just to open into an Word. Fabric does the same to for your data. Different workloads which we discussed just now, like Power BI, Data Factory, Data Science, Data Engineering, Real-Time Intelligence, IQs, different apps, right? Data engineering like Spark notebooks and so on. Different apps. They're all pointing to the same underlying data. The same underlying data. So three things you have to get it memorized here. All the workloads in one single place, all in one. The 7 workloads which we discussed. I will list it out in a short. What are those 7 workloads as well? And this is going to be the full SaaS application, fully software as a services. Got it? Software as a services. There is no server to patch or to scale. You no need to touch your virtual machines and so on. Built it on OneLake. So it's going to build it on the shared data layer underneath of each and every workload. The entire topic we are going to discuss on the session 2. Okay. Sometimes we will get a questionnaire. Is that Fabric is going to replace Power BI? Is the question a lot of people are asking. No. Simple answer, no. Power BI is one of the 7 workloads inside the Microsoft Fabric. It is not going to replace, Fabric is not going to replace Power BI. As I said, Power BI is one of the 7 workloads inside the Fabric. That's what it is. If you already know about Power BI, as I said, you almost, right, 15% of Fabric you are aware. Got it? Understood? This is how it looks like. So what is Microsoft Fabric? As I said, Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end SaaS analytics platform that brings every data tool into one product and one copy of data. All in one. All your workloads will be available at a time. You can see all in the bus of an item as per your requirement. And it is fully SaaS application, no infrastructure to provision, patches or virtual machines or scale your tools. And it is built on OneLake, which I'm going to cover it on the next second session. Got it? Fine. Let's try to understand about SaaS versus PaaS versus IaaS. Where does Microsoft Fabric sits? Why does matters to you? This part we will get it understand. IaaS is infrastructure as a services. So instead of explaining the theory here, I will give one simple scenario. Okay, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, which is a Fabric related activity or item. Okay. Imagine three ways to get a dinner. Okay. Imagine there are three ways to get into a dinner. Suppose in simple terms of as, pass, and SAS. If you are working as an IaaS, infrastructure as a services, it is like a renting an empty kitchen. Okay, you had to bring your own stove, you had to bring your own ingredients, you cook everything yourself, but you had to have a full control over it. That is nothing but infrastructure as a services. Same example for the dinner related pass, platform as a services. It's a shared commercial. All the items are there in the kitchen. Kitchen is everything is ready. All the with all utensils, everything. The equipment is already there, but you have to show up and cook it. That's what it is. Pass. Examples anyway, you're going to read it out. Microsoft, what it is offering on IaaS, on PaaS, and SaaS. Example for IaaS, Azure Virtual Machines, Platform as a Services, Azure Synapse Analytics, and coming to the last one, SaaS. It is something like an ordering an item from a restaurant. Everything is ready and it is cooked, and you just have to pay for your items, for your workloads. That's what we are going to do. Microsoft is a backend. Coming back to our Microsoft terminology, Microsoft manages everything for you. You just have to bring your data. That's it. That is nothing but SaaS application, which Microsoft is currently offering. So maybe you hope you like it. This example, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS related. So simple terms again, simple repetition. Infrastructure as a services means you have to bring everything. If you want to cook something, right, an empty kitchen, and you have to bring your own stores, your own stove, ingredients, and everything. You have to cook on yourself. And platform as a services, they are going to offer a platform. Example, the commercial kitchen. The equipment is already ready, and you have to cook your own. Okay, you still have to show up your cooking style. And last one is a SaaS. Is something like you get it order and deliver things for you. That's it. And you just have to eat the food. Manage everything by Microsoft. You just have to bring your own data. Got it? So this is how it looks like. Hope you got it. SaaS, PaaS, and as. Coming back to the 7 different workloads which are going to visible to you on once we get started with the Microsoft Fabric. These are the 7 different workloads or items: data factory, data engineering, data warehouse, and data science, real-time intelligence, Power BI, databases, ontologies topic is also added, IQs, and so on. So these are the 7 different workloads if you want to get started in any kind of from data extraction to visualization. Let's get start with one by one. Okay, roughly it will take some time. Okay, we'll get it, understand it. Okay, each and every workload, what it is, and we'll move on to the next part also. Data factory in a simple terms. Data factory is one of the workload inside the Microsoft Fabric to handle the data, like handle moving from your orchestrated data. Like you had to build the pipeline to copy the data from one multiple sources into OneLake. Maybe you are going to make use of the data flow gen tools, which is going to be the low code platform with a different set of transformations there, which I'm going to cover in detail in the third session, but no worries. Data factory is something like for the data ingestion, movement, data movement part. Maybe another workload, data engineering related, handles engineers, where the engineers are going to write the Spark code, right, in a notebook to clean the data, reshape the data, or prepare the larger data sets. Okay, whenever they are working on the preparing larger data sets, organize the data in an Medallion architecture, like a bronze layer for the raw data, silver layer for the processed data, like a cleansed data, and a gold layer for the ready to move on to the reporting layer data. This is how the data engineering stuff or workload will works. Data warehouse, a fully relational transactional SQL warehouses where the teams will be have an preferred experience on an SQL over Spark. SQL, structured query language, need a structured relational modeling, which I'm going to cover it under very in detail under data warehouse concept on the fifth session related. Coming to the data science notebooks to do some experiments on tackling ML models, ML workflows, or with the co-pilot assistance. These are all the things like classifications, modeling, predictive analytics. These are all the things has to be get it covered on the data science related if you are working on a data part. Coming back to the real-time intelligence, streaming analytics, moving data. Even stream and KQL data sets, databases are part of the streaming data here. Like example, IoT sensor data, Azure logs, click streams, anything that is going to arrive continuously rather than in the form of a batches, which I'm going to cover in the 8th session. Power BI, it's going to be, most of us know, it's going to be a reporting layer, reporting on the data visualization, where the end user or else the stakeholders, they can view the report via an interface on Power BI app, Power BI cloud environment, which I'm going to cover in another session further too. Databases included in the mirroring side, like instead of replicating the same data, loading into the OneLake, we just have to copy it and process the data. That is how the activities will work, databases part. So operational databases mirroring continuously replicate the existing data. Systems like Azure SQL, Cosmos DB into OneLake in a near real time, where data is without building any pipeline. Data is there, just have to transfer or just have to process it via different applications like to store it. Got it? This is how it works. These are the 7 Microsoft Fabric workloads. Coming to the capacities, if you're observing, it gets start with an F2 to F2048. Think about it. What is a capacity? A capacity is a pool of compute powers, capacity units, that runs every workload in a workspaces attached to it. Suppose maybe if you want to get start with small compute, smaller kind of a data sets, smaller teams, smaller workloads, we can get start as a set, trial accounts, get start with a trial. After the trial completion, if you want to learn it with the small teams, you can get start with an F2 to F16 F SKUs. Recently, I have also provided. There is another video on our channel, so you can also go through it. So there are a lot of FSQs there. As per the utilization of the data, you can consume it and configure the SKUs. Keep stocking unit. Key stocking unit. Sorry. Stock keeping units. F2 to F16, F32, each and every F SKUs has been get it doubled. F2 to next F4, F4 to F8, F8 to F16, and so on. F16 to F32, and so on. Like that it is, F64 and so on. It will be get it doubled. F32 to F128 is for the departmental analytics and mid-sized teams. They can make use of it, that particular range. And if you're working on an enterprise model, enterprise and larger concurrent workloads, then we can get it configured with F256 to F2048. This is how the capacities has been configured. Maybe I will also showcase to you how the computation budgets and what is the costing prices and so on. Again, the core definition of this capacity is a capacity is a pool of compute powers measured in a capacity units or CUs. We will also call it as a CUs, that every workload in an attached workspace draws from it. Every workspace. It's not a storage, it's processing power. It's not a storage, it's a processing power. Please keep in mind, these are the technical terms. Think of a capacity example. One more example I want to give it to you. Think of a capacity like a mobile data plans. A bigger plan, a bigger F1 FSKUs, if we will call it as an Fabric SKUs, keep stock keeping units, means more bandwidth available at once. If 10 people on a plan all streaming video simultaneously, things will be get it slow down. The same idea as a Fabric. Concentrate here, more concurrent Spark jobs. more pipelines, and repeat refreshes, data refreshes need a bigger capacity. Like that it is. Likewise, this capacity has to be get it used. Okay. So ideal for learning, which is F2 to F16, and maybe if you want to get start with the smaller teams, we can make use of it. F32 to F128, it's a typically for the departmental running regular pipelines. F256 to F2048, enterprise level concurrent jobs. If they're larger warehouses, thousands of data report viewerships are there. In such kind of a scenario, this is how the ladder SKUs, FSKUs has been, we can make use of it. Fine. One more line I want to repeat it here because there is a lot of confusions on the capacities. You no need to pick the capacities per each and every workload. You pick one capacity per each workspace, for a workspace, per workspace. You pick one capacity per workspace. That is well and good. You no need to pick a capacity per workload. We have, as I said, 7 different workloads we discussed, right? So you pick one capacity per workspace and everything inside that workspace shares it. All the workloads will be getting shared. That is a part of making the fabric feels unified instead of fragmented. It is an unified SaaS analytics platform. Hope you got it. These are the licensing options we have. Like there is a free trial if you want to make use of the Fabric. 60 days free trial capacity. You can make use of it. And 3 times with the same user, we can renew the trial capacities. And Power BI Pro license is there. Most of us aware of it. Per user capacity it is per user. Needed to share the Power BI content only. It is not linked or related to the Fabric capacity. Please keep in mind. This is very, very important. I have a Power BI Pro license. I want to create the Microsoft Fabric workloads. No, not possible. Okay. You need to have a Fabric trial for that if you want to consume the different workloads in a workspace. Same process for the premium per user workspace for a smaller teams it is. Premium per user license that unlocks the premium Power BI features for smaller teams. Premium Power BI features. Okay. If your data set size is very large, you can get it configure smaller storage or larger storage, and some AI related functionalities will be there. I mean, these are all related to the Power BI related activities, which will be get it unlocked. PPU, premium per user, but again, not for Fabric related workloads. One more, Fabric capacity FSQ. This is an organization wide pay. There are 2 types of models: pay as you go or reserved capacity models. This part also we discussed in the earlier video in our channel. Please go through it. 2 types: pay as you go method and reserve. Which one is the best method? This part also we discussed. Please go through it. So actually, right, if you are going the pay as you go or reserved capacity, that actually powers every Fabric workload, which we have workload, 7 workloads we discussed, like a data engineering or data science, data uh, pipeline building, Power BI, real-time intelligence, right? And many other IQs, these are all comes under. So make sure that which one, okay, pay as you go or reserved workloads, powers all Fabric workloads, complete entire organization wise. Fine. I want to define here with the last one line before moving on to the next workspace related concept. Here, the distinct that trips people up. I mean, I just want to give a quotation here. Licensing option part. A license like a pro, what a person is allowed to do. Okay. A capacity is about how much compute power is available, and you can have all the pro license in the world without a capacity. Nothing actually runs. Maybe if it is confusing, Just observe the licensing option here. So how it is has been configured, like a free trial, Power BI Pro, premium per user, Fabric capacity, and so on. Okay. Coming back to this workspaces where this Fabric fits in your entire organization, the container. So simple terms, workspace is nothing but a container for everything that you are going to build. Either you can get started with the workloads like data pipelines, right? Data pipelines, or maybe you want to get started with the data engineering activities, or maybe if you want to build with the data science related, everything will be get it resides inside the workspace. Whatever I have mentioned there, lake houses, report pipelines for one team or for a project, entire project. Every workspace is assigned to a capacity. Please keep in mind, capacity we just discussed. Access is controlled with the multiple permissions or layers. Admin is the top most privileges where they have everything like a full control, including the managing who else have an access. Member is the next level of the user access, can edit and add most of the content and manage some settings as well. Contributor can create and edit the content but not manage the workspace level settings. Contributor. Viewer is the read only activities to read the reports and data. That's it. Again, repeating. Admin is going to have a full control. Member can edit, add most of the content there, right? Most of the content and settings there. Contributor can create and edit the content but not manage the workspace level settings. Fourth one is the viewer. Like they can have an option like a read only on the report and data part. Okay. So I want to add one more in an organization level pattern part. In most of the organizations, you will see one workspace for a project or per team. A sales analytics is one of the workspace. Okay, I'm defining on a realistic scenario part. Sales analytics workspace or a finance reporting workspace, each assigned to a capacity. Each and every workspace will be get it assigned to a capacity there, but all of them ultimately sitting onto the same one lake underneath. That's the bridge which we are going to cover it on the next session. Again, repeating, in most of the organizations, you will see one workspace as per the project, as per the team. They can create it for the sales analytics as one workspace, or finance reporting is for another workspace. Each assigned workspaces, right? Assigned to a capacity, each one. But most of them, as I said, built all of them, not most of them, all of them, ultimately sitting on the same one lake underneath, so that data will not get it duplicated. That is the main thing, and you can get it accessed very faster. Okay, so coming to the theory recap, we discussed about Fabric unifies 7 different workloads into one SaaS product, software as a services product. We discussed about SaaS, PaaS, and as. It's SaaS, Microsoft manages the infrastructure, everything for you. That's what we discussed, right? And capacities, it gets start with an F2 to F2048 as per the workloads, as per the consumption, utilization, as per the larger analytics that we are going to deal with, power, everything that we want to build it over. License ranges from the free trial to the enterprise capacity, and workspace where your project live and each tied to the capacity. Got it? That's the today's theoretical activities which we are going to discuss. Demo, as I said, tomorrow I'm going to cover up next to 30 minutes to get it start with the Fabric workspace creation, and we will also discuss about the trial capacities, how it is, how it looks like, and how many types of FSKUs we have. That part also we will discuss in detail so that you'll get an idea. Okay, this is how the technical demo checklist for tomorrow's activity. So whoever not having the Fabric trials and so on, please ping me separately, and please also join in our WhatsApp group so that it is easy to track, and who is using, who is really interested and so on, easy for us. Hope you like that today's session, and please post your valuable comments, right? And share your views. Is there any improvements are required? So that it is very helpful for me. Please, thank you and have a good day. Thank you.